Morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Good. Well, I'm just going to introduce myself first. Everybody knows me. Kind of did a few podcasts. Mona Bailey. I'm the owner of GNC Lakeland, Plant City. I'm here this morning with Captain Assistant Police Chief of Lakeland, Captain Pacheco, and I'm going to have him introduce himself, and then we're going to start a great conversation with him today, and about different subject, lifestyle, the police foundation, and his job and what he does every day. I'm really, really excited to talk to you today. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Good. Thank you for having me. My name is Stephen Pacheco. I'm one of 3 assistant chiefs at the Lakeland Police Department. I've been there for 37 years.
Wow.
And that doesn't count 2 years at the Polk County Sheriff's Office before I started at Lakeland.
Okay.
So I'm in charge of the Investigative Services Division, which is all of the detectives, both narcotics detectives and criminal detectives.
Okay.
So that's what I do. And on the side, I also am the president and the board chair for the Lakeland Police Foundation, which is our nonprofit that serves the Lakeland Police Department, their members, and their families.
That's awesome. And that's how I actually got to know you, through that foundation for the past 8 years, which has been great. So before we start talking about the foundation, which is going to be I think it's the main thing for us to talk about the foundation, but also we need to get our audience to know a little bit more about you. And I know you come to GNC and you always tell me that you are vegan, and you started that vegan journey. And I want you to tell me, when did you start? What made you start being vegan, and what do you like about it? What did side effect? I know I told you last time, I can imagine myself not eating a piece of steak. So.
Well, let me go back. I mean, I've been in law enforcement. I moved to Lakeland when I was 11.
Okay.
So I've always kind of lived, ever since I joined the police department, I've always lived an active lifestyle, and I've always concentrated on my health since the first time that I joined the police department. Joined the SWAT team, and I think joining the SWAT team really got me involved in physical activity, because that's was a majority of our job. So over the years, like many police officers, I think the shift work and working nights and just the stress of the job, I think, caught up with me years and years later.
Sure.
And I ended up getting a case of hypertension and developing high blood pressure. So I think that it was more of a genetic thing on my side, because it runs on both sides of my family.
Okay.
So I started really delving in and concentrating on my health, and talking to my cardiologist, who introduced me to a vegan eating diet. There are a lot of facts surrounding vegan diet and vegan eating that do a lot of benefits for your cardiovascular system. So read a couple of books, and actually my goal was to get off of any kind of medicine. So I don't like taking medicine. I'll take 50 vitamins a day, but I don't like taking that one little pill that I have to take. So that was my goal in becoming vegan, was just a quest to really get off of taking any pharmaceutical medicine that I had to take. So, and over the course of I've been vegan for 3 years now. And over the course of this last 3 years, I've been able to lower my blood pressure medicine by 75%.
That's amazing.
So I feel good. I feel better that I'm taking less medicine and taking care of myself more. So it's been good for me.
That's awesome. So what's like being a vegan? What's your breakfast like? What's your lunch? What do you? I mean, I know you're cutting completely the meat, the chicken. So just tell us how you just I mean, people like, oh, it's very difficult to be a vegan. How can I just go with sitting with a lot of people and I'm going out, and how can
I'll tell you, it's more of a mindset and
Okay.
a change in lifestyle and a commitment to doing what you need to do. And that's really in life with anything. I mean, if you make a commitment, I talk to a lot of people and they're like, oh, I could never go without meat. Well, you can go without meat, but you have to make a conscious decision for whatever your reason is. It doesn't matter. Whatever your reason is that you're going to do it or do something, you have to be able to be committed to that. And it is a total lifestyle change. So on a normal day, I mean, I got up this morning at 5 and I was in the gym at 6 o'clock this morning. I worked out for an hour. So I drank a protein drink this morning, and I use pea protein instead of whey protein because vegan, true vegan is no meat, no dairy, no cheese, no eggs. So you have to be careful on what you intake and what proteins you use. So I use a pea protein, which is an organic vegan protein instead of a whey protein.
Yes.
So I use that, and I put a lot of spinach and a banana and that's it. So
that's great.
on a usual morning, I'll eat like a bowl of oatmeal with like a tablespoon of like nut butter or something like that, and like maybe a little side of blueberries or something.
That's great.
So. And then lunch is really just up for grabs. It depends on my day and depends on if I bring something, and it depends on what I got going on, meetings and things like that. So if I'm forced to go out somewhere, that's the hard part. I mean, a lot of restaurants now don't have vegan options.
Yes.
So I try to choose a place that does have at least some type of vegan entree or something
Options,
that I can get. And there are places around town that have tofu dishes, and there's actually a new vegan restaurant on Gary Road called Vegetation. I've become a customer of theirs because the whole restaurant is vegan.
That's
and
great.
their food is amazing. That's a little plug for Vegetation.
Yes.
But you know, and then dinner, I try to, you know, I've read a lot of books, and I try to stay, if at all possible, percentage-wise for my plate. So I try to stay vegetables and things like that, 90% of what I have on my plate, and then 10 or either 80-20 or 90-10 is what I try to stay.
Yeah.
So, and that 10 or 20% is the protein.
Yeah.
And that I get from either tofu, tempeh, beans, all kinds of things like that. You know.
So you really was being vegan, the side effect of the meat and just people get sluggish, that feel. Did you feel that change whenever you start? Like, I know people get like, oh, I feel so heavy, I feel this. It's just like, is that
no,
really?
I felt, and actually when I started, I started cold turkey. I read the book, went back to my cardiologist, we discussed everything, and I started the next day. And within 3 months, my body chemistry started changing. So I actually thought I was getting sick. And I went back to my cardiologist and I'm like, what are you trying to do to me? And he's like, he took my blood pressure and he's like, oh my God, your blood pressure is dropping already. And I'm like, oh, he goes, no wonder you don't feel good because you're still on a high dose of medication and your blood pressure is dropping. So my blood pressure, so incrementally over the last 3 years, he's reduced my medication, you know, multiple times to reach where I'm at now. And I feel great. I still take medicine, but my goal is to get off of it completely if I can.
Yeah.
But yeah, I noticed within 2.5, 3 months, I noticed my body chemistry changing when I cut out all of the dairy and the meat and eggs. And I was a big egg person. I mean, I probably ate,
I am too.
I
get up in the morning.
Yeah. I ate eggs every day. Sometimes I would eat eggs for dinner, and that I was just single at that time, and an omelet was my go-to dinner. Right? Yeah.
Like the
so when I cut, within 2.5, 3 months, I started noticing a body chemistry change, and it's been great for me.
You really, your story can tell me a lot about, relate to a lot of our clients. They come in and it's like, what should I do? Should I go keto? Should I go vegan? Should I go, low carb? Or, then you Ozempic and all this stuff. And you just said something really amazing right now. It's just really, it's setting your goals and having the mindset and determination and see what works for you that can makes it happen. And that's what we usually advise a lot of our clients. And this is just like one of those cases that just shows that the mindset, determination, and deciding what goal you want to do and achieve for your health overall and your lifestyle. That what makes you achieve what you want to achieve.
It's hard for people, I think, and myself included at times, but it's hard for people to change their mindset and actually switch their brain to a form of thinking that I need to do what I need to do, not what I want to do. And exactly. I can say every day that I want or I choose to go eat everything that I'm not going to eat. And so it's a choice, and
Exactly.
we have choices every day in the way we live. We have choices on what we eat. We have choices on what we put in our bodies. And I made this choice for a personal health reason, and my goal is to. I always tell people that I work with, and I teach a class at our police department on mental health, and I concentrate on mental health. But most police officers or public safety people, their job is very, very stressful. And, it can take its toll on you personally and your health. So I always tell people, you work a 30-year career for what reason? And sometimes they'll sit there and stare at you, and I'm like, well, you work a 30-year career so that you can hopefully retire with a good pension and that you can go enjoy your life.
That's
well,
true.
what ends up happening is that a lot of public safety people don't get to live that, because the life expectancy for a police officer after we retire is only about 5 to 7, 8 years.
Wow.
And that's not a very good statistic.
That's not.
Most police officers don't concentrate on their health the entirety of their career. They may go through spurts here and there, that they'll get healthy and then they're not healthy, not healthy, but they don't concentrate on it. My goal, I'm on my 37th, really my 39th year of law enforcement. And my goal is, after this next year, is to walk away and to be healthy and enjoy my retirement as an elderly person.
Well, you brought up very, very important subject as well, the mental health and whatever the public service people go through, and we also deal with that also a lot, the stress and and the way of life right now, people are going whatever people go through. And you said that you teach a class about the mental health, and what do you talk about? How they relieve the stress, about their diet, about their work and exercise, about find time to meditate, or because it's really an important subject to talk about as well right now. I mean, we can talk about the health as far as losing weight and what kind of diet, but also mental health is a huge problem in U.S. in general and all over the world because of the stress level and what people and how people can deal with it as well. So, and especially for a stressful job where you guys go every single day. I just wanted you to talk a little bit about it.
Sure.
And,
we talk about everything really. And my goal for doing the class, and I do this class for all of our new officers that come in the department, whether it's a new officer, a public safety aide, or like a communications personnel. So I do that class for them coming in. And in the hopes of doing that class is to at least introduce them and open up the conversation about talking about mental health. Because in our profession, we don't talk about, that's been a big stigma around talking about your mental health, because we're tough police officers and we're tough public safety people, and we can't show weakness and we got to be everybody's hero, right?
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily the case. A lot of times we go through this career and the public thinks that we're superheroes and
you're human still.
But we are. We're human beings, and sometimes individually we forget about that ourselves too.
Yes.
So really the class is about opening up and talking about really the change that these people are going to go through as they go through their career, and really probably the first 3 to 5, 6 years, because this job will change you, and it changes us sometimes for the worst if you don't recognize, and it changes, could change for the better.
Right.
So if you don't recognize that you're going through some of those changes and that stress and the shift work and all the things and the unhealthy eating and all of that starts to take a toll on you, and couple that with all the things that you see and that you are exposed to, because these officers and our firefighters and I include even like the people that work at the hospital in the emergency room and that because we're all always intertwining with the cases that we work. But it's trauma every day, and it can be death and babies dying and dealing with the families of victims of crimes, and it you really start to just every day, sometimes it seems like you're seeing the worst of humanity. And so not only physically does the job take a toll on you, but mentally it takes a toll on you because you start to really get a jaded view of what society is really like. And sometimes you can forget that there are great people out here. We live in a great city. We have great people here, but unfortunately, every day, that's not who the police and the fire
See.
and the nurses see and deal with, because our job is to respond to calls.
To the worst, actually.
And nobody calls 911 on their best day.
No.
So they're calling 911 for a reason, because they've been victimized, traumatized. Something's happened in their life or there's an emergency, and it's the worst day of their life. So, think about that on a everyday basis, that most of the time, and I'm not saying all the time, but most of the time when you're answering those calls, you're going to deal with somebody who is not in their could not be in their right state of mind. Yes. Never mind the calls that we have to handle with dealing with people that are themselves struggling with mental health issues. So that stuff personally takes a toll on you. So in this class that I teach, we talk about that. We talk about health. We talk about the benefits of exercise and eating right, and how to deal with that. And as you go through your career, how do you deal with that stress, and what do you do personally? Because not everybody's a workout person. No. Not everybody's, I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. and go to the gym. Nope. Not everybody knows. Some people that don't even like to work out. Yep. So for those people, how do they manage their stress, and how do they manage the psychological and the trauma impact that they see every day in this job? Yes. They've got to find a mechanism. So whether that's working out, whether that's keeping with their hobbies, because of this job, we lose touch with our hobbies and the things that we do that do make us feel good, because we're always working. Yes. We're working shift work. Let's just say you're a religious person and you go to church and you go to church 2-3 times a week. Well, when you start working this job, shift work gets in the way. We work at least every other weekend. So on those weekends, you're not going to be able to go. So it gets in the way, and it can really stifle a person's foundation that they've built before they got into police work. So the neat thing about this class that I teach too is that we invite their families also. Oh, wow. So not only am I speaking to the officers and the public safety aides and the communication people, but we bring in their families, and I hope that I encourage them to bring their families, because I want them to hear this message too, because it's important that when something's happening, I'm sure that you with your husband, when your husband's going through a trying time and he's stressed out and stuff, who's the first person that sees that? It's going to be our spouse, right? Yes. Or our close family member that's going to go, "Ooh, what's wrong with my husband today?" Yes. Or a couple of days go by, 2-3 days, man, he's really stressed out, something's going on, and hopefully you address that and you sit down and talk and you find out. Well, we don't do that as police officers. Usually our first mechanism is just to be quiet, and we don't tell anybody that we're feeling bad, or we don't tell anybody that we're stressed out. And that's the whole part of this class, is to open up. And you got to tell somebody, you got to talk, you got to, get in there. And if your family's not the people that you're going to talk to, we have mental health professionals within our employee assistance program that you can talk to. And we encourage the use of that program and all of that. It's all kind of full circle, right? Yeah.
And do you see like a great people are responding really well to that for your classes? And
I think so. In the old days when I came up as a police officer, there was a different mentality. Even talking about mental health, or talking about your feelings, or talking about anything. Nowadays, I see with this new generation that they're willing. They're willing to talk about it. They're more open about talking about their own mental health, and which I think is great. I mean, yes. I've had guys within the last couple weeks come up to me, and because I teach the class, everybody kind of knows my story, and and so I've had guys come up to me and say, "Hey, just want to let you know that I'm going to see our counselor, and because I needed some help," and which is great. That's what we want. We want people opening up and saying, "Hey, I am getting help." Yeah. So
that's great. Well, you told me that you moved to Lakeland when you were 11 years old, and I asked you, why did you decide to go into being a police officer? It's like, you told me that's just like that. There's a story behind that, and I want to hear
it. Funny story. When I was in high school, I actually went to a Christian high school here in town. And as a junior in high school, I got very interested in woodworking, and I got introduced to it through my uncle. And so my junior year of high school, I actually left my high school and enrolled in Travis Vocational Technical School here in Lakeland. Yeah. And so my junior year of high school, I actually attended Travis Votech and took carpentry. And I was taking my regular classes to fulfill my educational needs, but then a large portion of the day was spent learning carpentry. So I had aspirations of going into some type of carpentry and or building or construction or
yeah.
something. And when I got out my junior year, went back to high school my senior year, on the side, I continued to work building cabinets and doing things,
Wow.
custom cabinet making and stuff. So I had a friend that worked with me, and he quit where we were working and went to work for the Polk County Sheriff's Office in the corrections and the jail.
Okay.
And he loved it. And so he kept coming back to me and going, and kind of teasing me in a way and going, hey, you're
Recruiting you,
you're
kind
working
of.
in this hot box, it's 100 degrees in a cabinet shop, and I'm working in an air-conditioned building, and I'm making twice the money that you're making. And I'm like, oh, okay. He's like, oh, you really need to come down. And he just kept on and on and on. And finally, I was like, oh, okay.
Peer pressure, kind of?
Yeah, peer
Peer
pressure.
pressure.
He kind of convinced me. So I went and got hired at the Polk County Sheriff's Office and worked just about 2 years.
You were young
in the
then.
jail.
You were
I
very
was
young.
19 years old.
Wow.
So went down there, and I really liked it at first. And then I'll tell you the good aspect of it is that as a 19-year-old kid, I really didn't know much about the world. And working in the jail every day, you see the worst of everybody that's in there. And you see people that come in that are ordinary people who made a mistake, and they ended up in jail.
Yeah.
They're not bad people. They just
But
made a
just
mistake,
made a
right?
mistake,
And so you got to talk to really every segment of society working in there, and they didn't have anything to do. They were sitting in jail all day. So us walking around as corrections officers, we had a chance to engage in conversation.
Yes,
and you could talk to people all day long from every walk of life, from the hardened criminal who was serving life sentences to somebody who just made a mistake and
Just he's there.
maybe drove after they drank and got a DUI and whatever. So I learned a lot about humanity in that couple of years, and learned a lot about people. Learned a lot about crime and why people made mistakes, why they chose to make certain decisions in their life. And then at that point, I ended up getting introduced to another guy who was an auxiliary officer for the police department, and we became really, really good friends. And we actually ended up moving in and being roommates together.
Oh, wow.
So at that time, he was in the process of getting hired at Lakeland. So another peer pressure thing. He kind of coaxed me and helped me get hired at Lakeland. And that was at 21. I got hired at Lakeland when I was 21 years old, and
wow,
I've been
what
there,
a
been there ever
journey!
since.
What a journey! Long time. So, what is the most rewarding thing about your job?
I really do think you ask any police officer, probably all over the United States, all over the world, why do you want to be a police officer? And it's to help people.
Yeah.
And we have a servant attitude and a servant spirit. And what we do every day, no matter what you're doing, is really at the end of the line to help people. So I think the rewarding thing is that when you get a chance to do that, and it's meaningful and it's impactful on somebody's life, and you're able to see that manifest, is probably one of the greatest feelings. We unfortunately, again, we deal with people every day in their worst moments, and I think that sometimes we walk away from situations and we're not able to say that we helped that person. And because of the situation, let's just say it's a homicide investigation. There's nothing that we can do within our powers to make somebody who has been killed, to make that family feel better, except to do our job and to do it correctly and to hold somebody accountable for that person being killed. So doing that and bringing closure, to the family is probably the only way that we can help them. But it doesn't make that pain go away for their loved one that has been their life has been taken, right? So I think that's probably the best thing, and we do get a chance to interact with people. Just, we have people every day that stop us and say, thank you for your service. Thank you for what you do. And that feels good because, every day we try to do our best. And every person in that police department, no matter if they're a sworn or civilian or they're a dispatcher or what their job is, everybody's goal every day is to come in and do their
Help
best and to
people.
help people.
Yes,
And so when we can walk away and you can actually say, hey, I did something for that person,
proud and feel like you
it
helped
makes
it.
you feel good about what
Yes,
you do. Yeah.
So if the new generation, they're looking for an easy way, easy jobs, they want to be on their phone and do like a YouTube video and be the most popular and think they're going to make $1 million, what would you advise the new generation to start maybe that career? What's the benefit of it? As you said, you can help people, but what kind of advice would you give to a young man like 18, 19 years old who's thinking about it? What do you think?
Yeah. I think some of the kids that, and I call them kids because I'm older.
Sure. Yeah.
Some of the young people that we do have coming into the workforce today, I think they have the same goals, aspirations, and drive that we all did when I was 19 years old.
That's great to hear.
It's just that the job, society, and life is different now. Everything is way more technical. When I came into this job as a police officer, we hand wrote police reports with a pen and forms and
Yes.
paper, and we used to have to carry 5 bottles of different color whiteout because we had multiple forms that were white, yellow, blue,
wow.
and if you made a mistake, you had to use whiteout on every shit.
Yeah.
You say that to a police officer or somebody now, and they're like, "What are you talking about?" Because everything's so technical, right?
Yes.
So the technology, I think, has been the biggest change that I've seen over the years that has changed the game for our younger officers. Our police officer today is so technology driven that they would probably lose their mind if they had to actually write a police report with a pen and a paper.
So they're really more
right.
advanced because of the technology,
I think
kind
so,
of.
yeah.
Yes.
But I think the drive and I think the willingness and the willingness to help people, all that, the inner reason for being a public safety person, same for firefighters, nurses, is still to help people and to do that. But I think that what's changed is their ability to do it a little bit better.
Yes.
Maybe not better, but more technical, quicker things. Certainly it takes these young people
More efficient
a lot
too.
less time to write a police
more
report
efficient,
than it did me handwriting something. So, and the use of, now we have in-car cameras, we have body cameras, we have, these computers that are just so tied into everything, and everything's connected. Everything is, they carry cell phones that take crime scene pictures. It's just, the technology is just amazing today of what they have at their fingertips.
Which I think is
So,
they're
right.
very lucky compared
Yes.
to what, like, as you said, when we started.
The problem, now I'll tell you the bad side of that.
Okay.
The flip side, bad side of that is that we're seeing that some of these young people don't have the communication skills that we all had. And that's the problem of technology, is that, if you walk around, you watch most people, they're on their
Looking
phone
at
constantly.
Yes.
They're either on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, whatever it is, and they can't engage people in
Conversation and communication
meaningful
skills.
dialogue.
Yes.
And to be a good police officer, you have to have that skill, because every time we get out of the car and our job is to talk to people. And we either have to find out what's going on, we have to extract information from people, again, when they're not in their best day, which is very difficult for a lot of these young people, is that their communication skills are lacking. So on top of all that stuff, to gather information and find out what's going on, do I know if a crime's been committed, or do I just got to write a police report? All of that stuff has to be memorialized in a police report.
Yes.
So their writing skills, are a little bit less to be desired, some of them too. So those are the things that we're seeing with the new generation of police officer that we're trying to concentrate on now. And that's not all police officers,
Yes.
but because a lot of them,
yeah.
a lot of them are coming to us, well educated, they're college educated. So, we see that some have more skills than others.
Yes.
And we see that their communication skills are a little bit better with some of them also.
Yeah, and I think after COVID and after 2020, a lot of kids in this couple of years really affected a lot of those generation. My son was graduating high school at the time, and he had to stay at the dorm, taking classes online, and I kind of still see it in him. He just turned 22 yesterday, and he's just kind of like, Adam, cheer, you're still 22. You're not, okay, Mom, Yes. You know,
Yeah,
just like that kind of attitude, there's no communication, just talk, you know, communicate. And as you said, it's just a new generation thing. And with COVID and kids being home and being on their phone for 2 years, I think it did affect. So hopefully we'll see a little bit of relief and people come out and talk and the communication will be better as far as,
Yeah, we had a lot of, coming into this profession, if you're an introvert, you're going to have a hard time.
Oh, yeah.
Because a majority of our job is talking and
Talking to
communicating
people,
and really taking charge. We see that as a big issue with somebody who doesn't have the communication skills and who is an introvert and is not able to engage. Because as soon as we tell everybody now, especially with the body cameras and stuff, you are the director of your own movie, every call that you go on, everything that you do. Because as soon as you step out of that car, your body camera's on, and you are the one that is directing what's going to be done, what's going to be said, what information is going to be exchanged. So when you think about it, they're the director of their own movie, sometimes 10, 15, 20 times a day, depending on how many calls they go on. So that's what we're trying to get them to with the technology thing now, is to really try to get them in engage and to be great directors of their own movies. And the better they do that, the more they engage, the politer they are, the more professional they are. That is what this community will see. That's awesome. And that's important, especially if it's a certain type of case. And then, because who's going to see all that film?
Yes.
If it's a criminal case and it goes to court, the court's going to see it, a jury's going to see it, and the judge is going to see it, and the attorneys are going to see it.
Yes.
So the more professional and the better director and the better you orchestrate your own thing, the better you're going to look.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, the next I'm going to talk about Lakeland, and then that will take us to the Lakeland Police Foundation. So you said you've been in Lakeland since you were 11 years old.
Yes.
We always say we love Lakeland. So what do you think of Lakeland overall? I know it's a beautiful city. What do you think of the Babel of Lakeland? What would you? I know you travel around and everything. So it's just like people told me, why Lakeland? I was like, I don't know. It's just Lakeland had that vibe into it,
I'll take you through, let me go through like a little journey there. But I can remember being a young police officer on the street and talking to people every day. And the one thing that I've always noticed about Lakeland is that the people are nice. And a majority, there's a segment of society that's never going to be nice and never going to be anything that we want them to be. But overall, I think with the people that come here to Lakeland, even our citizens, just overall, I think they're very nice. They love public safety. They love the police department here. They love the fire department here. We have a great community of advocates out there who have great programs, and we have great things in this city.
Yes.
I think as I've moved up in rank within the police department, we get exposed to different things. A lot of my time spent in the office, but as we go to community events and things, we see a different caliber of people sometimes than the young officers that are seeing on the street. And we engage with more business leaders, more professionals, different community groups and things that we get asked to attend. And again, people are nice. And that's the one thing that I've noticed about Lakeland. And, and I have friends and colleagues that work at other agencies and things, and they don't seem to enjoy that same sentiment from their public. Just like, and it's not just so much our Lakeland people, if you ever go up to like where the Tigers play and we have the Detroit Tigers here and all the spring, I used to work a lot of spring training games. Every time you're at a Tiger game, you've got people from all over the United States that come to that game. Yeah. So you would have people constantly coming up to you, talking to you, telling you thank you for your service and things like that. And that's nice, And I don't think that, again, I know that police officers around the United States, depending on what city they're working, don't get that.
Yeah,
we recently hired a bunch of officers from New York. I think anywhere between 15 and 20 officers that we've hired from New York now. And when we first started hiring them and they started integrating into our community, they told us that they've never experienced what they've experienced here in Lakeland. They've never had somebody stop them in public and say thank you for your service. Never mind being at a restaurant and trying to buy their meal or anything like that.
Amazing.
So when you hear that and they're, you talk to some of them guys now and they're like, they love it here because it's a different world from where they came from, and that makes us feel good because that makes us, it's factual that, we can talk to people that want to come work with our agency and, the public likes us, and that makes a big difference.
Of course,
It's always great when I think, and that's got to be hard to work in a city where you're not valued or you're not appreciated.
Yes.
And I don't care what your profession is.
Yes.
But, everybody wants to feel valued. Everybody wants to feel appreciated. And again, what we do as police officers sometimes in dealing with the unpopular people of the of the world, we don't always get that we're not going to get that from that segment of society that we have to deal with. So it's nice to hear it and have that balance of appreciation and when you're not having to deal with people who don't appreciate us.
Yeah, and just hearing that about Lakeland, we see it every day that we hear how many people are moving to Lakeland now, and I think also the city, we can see the traffic, the people love Lakeland. It seems like it's just like
the amount of apartment complexes and people moving into a smaller area. I'm just downtown. I mean, look at all the apartments that are going up around Lake Wire and everything. Those you're talking about 1,000 people or more within a small area.
I heard there was about 30,000 people who moved to Lakeland last year and moving. And actually, there was an article at the U.S. News or something saying that Lakeland is #1 growing city in the country or something like that. That was like, wow.
Yeah.
That it has to come for a reason.
Yeah.
It has to come for a reason.
It's great,
as
but
you
it
said,
does,
people. Of course, it has to put too much pressure and liability and whatever you need to do around that, especially for the police department and all the people who do the service for the city. So, but we are welcoming anybody who wants to come to Lakeland.
Absolutely.
I think it's growing. It's beautiful. I mean,
the one thing that we can honestly say here is that in our city, our public safety sectors, us, the fire department, even the city of Lakeland workers, that we're supported. And we have a city commission and a mayor and a city manager who gets it, who plans for growth and is always constantly asking us, looking at how many people are moving here, how many more police officers, how many more firefighters are we going to need to meet that need? They're constantly planning and looking to plan that. Now, the ability to hire those people, that's where we're struggling. But as far as the city commissions and the city supporting us in every aspect, I can honestly say in the 37 years that I've been here at the Lakeland Police Department that we have always had that. We have never wanted for anything, for equipment, for vehicles, for anything, over the 37 years and still today, they support us 100%. So that makes a big difference. Now, again, we've always prided ourselves at hiring the best police officers at Lakeland. But we've struggled within the last 3, 4, 5 years just because
it's a trend.
It's a trend around the United States.
In the trend in all the job market and everything. So it's not only one department. It's every business. It's it's just a trend, and hopefully we'll all go through it anyway. So
hopefully,
So that will take us to the best of the best, the Lakeland Police Foundation. I knew you for the past 8 years. GNCs have been sponsoring the foundation. We're really, really proud sponsor. We love it. And I want to go through the history of the foundation. Tell me about it, and then we're going to go about more details for people who are listening, how they can sign up and how can you go pick up their bags, the day of the race, all the details about it. I would like to get people really more informed about it so we can get them to sign up as soon as possible because the date is getting closer.
Right, exactly. Well, the foundation, our foundation, the Lakeland Police Foundation, was started in 2012. And one of the main reasons that we started the foundation was we had a dream of building the Fallen Heroes Memorial, which is located right at the entrance of the Lakeland Police Department. We wanted a way to honor the police officers who have died in the line of duty in our city. So for Lakeland. So that was, we were very lucky at the onset of establishing the foundation that we had a very, very generous donor who came in and gave us a significant amount of money. We had started a fundraising campaign to be able to build that memorial, and we were very lucky to get a large donation to help us build that.
That's amazing.
So it really was the catalyst for a lot of things, not just building the foundation. So we were able to, in 2016, I think, is when we built the memorial, the Fallen Heroes Memorial. And since that time, unfortunately, we've had to add a couple of names to that, and that we're at 7 officers now who have died in the line of duty here at the Lakeland Police Department. So I became involved early on at that time and was part of the board. And eventually, over the years, I ended up taking over as the president of the foundation. And we've expanded our program. So the foundation, is kind of different. It's really there to serve the employees of the police department and their families. So we've expanded just the fact that we were able to build the memorial, and now we've expanded into other programs. So now we have an educational grant that we do twice a year, and we open that up to our members and their children. So we give educational grants, for their continuing college education. And again, I open that up twice a year. And then we have a hardship grant, which is probably the most used. And what that hardship grant was established for was for anybody that fell on really bad times or somebody who is dealing with a debilitating disease or diagnosis or an accident that they were in. We've used it for a multitude of things. And on average, that's probably about $10,000-$15,000 a year that we end up, unfortunately, using to help our people who are struggling. And just as an example, we've had members who have been diagnosed with cancer and members who have had family members that are struggling with a debilitating disease or children who have had accidents. And, it's a multitude of things that we've used that for. And the board of directors votes on that, who gets the money and stuff like that. So the other program that we have is we started a fund for our retired police dogs, our retired canines. Not everybody in the public knows, but those dogs only on average sometimes last about 6 to 9 years.
Yes.
Depends on the health of the dog, depends on how much they get worked. So what happens when they're not able to work anymore is we have to retire the animal. And most of the time, the handler who has that dog or somebody within our community, the dog community with the handlers, will adopt that dog as a pet. And now once they leave the police department, they're retired.
Yes.
So financially, whoever adopts that animal has to take on full responsibility of that dog. We kind of felt that was a little unfair because we've had some that have had health problems, late in their life and have had to have surgeries and things like that. So we established the Retired Canine Fund just as a mechanism to help those people who have adopted if the dog gets to a point that he has to have surgery or something medically, we're there as a financial mechanism to help them if that takes place. Sometimes what happens is that the dogs, because of their service, and they have a hard job. And they get trained a lot, and they're not like a regular.
So they're also under stress
yes.
and a lot of.
They're not like a regular pet. I mean, those dogs get worked, and just they have to go out and track people and find people, and that's their job. Is we put those animals in places where we don't want the police officers to go because it's dangerous, and that's their job. So we established that.
Does
so
it also get hurt as well? Like
sometimes, they get hurt just training, or if they're looking for somebody. They track human beings in all types of environments and, jumping over fences and going under buildings, jumping into water.
So it's just like a really risky.
Correct. Yeah. It's not like a normal pet.
Yeah.
So one of the last things that we just implemented within the last 2-3 years was every year the police department does a retiree lunch for all the officers that have retired for the police department.
Oh, nice.
So when they come out, and that's their day to actually come out and qualify with their handguns to keep up with their certification to be able to carry a handgun. So we adopted that also, and we feed them lunch, and it's an appreciation event for the members,
great.
for all their years of service to the city.
Yeah.
And we do that 2 or 3 times a year. We have appreciation events for the police officers. And then the last program that we have was something that we just adopted within the last couple of years is our Police Explorer program. And that's a program for young adults and ages 14 to 21 who actually have a vested interest in possibly becoming a police officer. So they start young, they actually learn all the aspects of working crime scenes and everything that a police officer does. We have mentor police officers who are called advisors who are assigned to that program, and they help train all these young adults. And at once a year, they actually go to a state competition and they compete against other Police Explorer posts from around the state.
That's great.
So
you go to high schools and stuff like to promote that?
No,
Or
it's kind
how
of
do you promote
really
this?
word of mouth, and we do put some advertising out. But right now we got about, I think, 15 kids that are involved in that program, and that really has become a recruiting ground for us. I mean,
Yeah, sure.
we have one assistant chief right now, Hans Lehman, who was actually a police explorer many, many years ago.
Oh, wow.
So, and we've probably hired as police officers and public safety aides over the years, probably 8, 9, maybe 10
That's great.
kids out of that program who have
Yes.
gone on to be productive police officers or public safety aides. So
I'm very sure there is a lot of people who really have an interest or passionate for that, but maybe don't know about this. But this is
Right.
the time for them to know and hear about that. If
it's called the Lakeland Police Department Police Explorer program.
Yes.
And again, it's from ages 14 to 21. So if you have a child,
And is it like during the summertime, or how do you
no,
guys do
it's
classes?
it's all year because
All year.
they actually meet I believe every Monday night, and then they do other events. They're involved with a lot of aspects of what the police department does.
Okay.
So not only do they have this training and they meet on Mondays and they go to this state competition, but every event that the police department does, whether it's the 5K, you see them at our 5K.
Yeah, I've seen that,
They help us with the Christmas parade. They help us with different events in the police department that we host. So they volunteer and do that. And that's their chance. They have uniforms. They look different from the police uniforms, but it's their chance to kind of integrate with us. And the other thing that they do is they ride along with the police officers on the street.
Oh, okay.
So there's a certain portion of their training which they call it the Ride Along Academy, and so they have to be trained a certain way to be able to ride along with a police officer. So they're taught what to do, what not to do,
What to say, what not to say.
right, because they're going to be exposed to some danger out there. So we want to make sure that they're safe, number one, but number two, that they're doing what they're trained to do.
Yeah, that's
So that's pretty cool. So we adopted that. The Lakeland Police Foundation adopted that program, and we're trying to help them, support them financially to do things for their academy and stuff.
Wow, you do a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah. So
You do a lot.
So then our big fundraiser for the Lakeland Police Foundation is our 5K race, and we came up with that. Really, we started that many years ago as a funding mechanism. We were going to do the police memorial, and that was really the first way that we thought of to try to raise money. So, and we've stuck with that race, and it's really become more of a fundraiser, and we think of it more as a community event.
I think it is.
Because we have there's no other event that we do within the police department that gets the exposure that the Fallen Heroes race does. It's our chance as a police department to have all of our people that we can get there interact with 600 and some people.
Yes.
So it's a great opportunity for us to shine. It's a great opportunity for us to really market the Lakeland Police Foundation and have some exposure, to really let people know what we're trying to do in taking care of officers who give their lives, for the city
Every day. Yeah.
So, and that's the focus. The focus is the week that we have it. It just so happens that it's Armed Forces Day that week also, and usually it lands on the same day.
Yes.
So we've concentrated on paying respect to our military members
Yes, in the same time,
who
yes,
serve
we do
and
that.
who have died
Yes.
for our country and for our Lakeland Police Department members. And we've had 7 officers and everything that we have design-wise and everything is all surrounded around the 7 police officers that we've had die in the line of duty for the Lakeland Police Department. So our medals, our marketing, everything usually is surrounded around the Fallen Heroes Memorial, and that's just become our fundraiser for the foundation.
Yeah.
So
the foundation has a website, so where people can go in. And,
right, they can go to the LakelandPoliceFoundation.com, and we also have the Fallen Heroes races on Run Sign Up, so they can go to Run Sign Up and sign for that. Our this year our race is on Saturday, May 18th, at 3 Parks Trail down by Cleveland Heights, by the YMCA.
Yes.
That's where it starts, and then it ends at the back of Peterson Park.
What time does it start?
7 o'clock on that Saturday morning, May 18th.
Okay, all right.
And then we kind of do our packet pickup a little bit different than some other races do. We actually have a drive-through at the police department. So on the Thursday and the Friday evening before Saturday, May 18th, those 2 evenings, I think from 4:30 to 7, I believe, we have a drive-through pickup that you can come pick your packet up, and that's everybody's chance to. In that packet, you'll get your race bib and your T-shirt and some other associated things.
Stuff, yes.
And grateful again to GNC because you all have been a sponsor with us from the very beginning. And thanks to you also that, the bags that they pick up are usually filled with other things that I don't think a lot of other races get. So every year you all have done something phenomenal with either a box of supplements or some type of a drink cup or shakers or something. So, and I think that's made a difference for us, and hopefully has garnished some good exposure for you all.
Of course.
But thank you to you and your husband and your company for everything that you've done for us. Because
we really love it. It's just like we look forward to every year. This is our biggest event, and we just love what you guys do for the community. And it's just like it's been amazing. And people wait for it. Actually, last year I was at the race, and one of the runner came to me. I was like, I'm from Tampa. I know your brother. I was like, oh my God, him and his son. They were just coming and he said, I've been doing this. I love it. I come in. Yeah. I was like, wow. That's just like, that's so good, really people come from even around the different cities just to come and help and support. And again, because they love Lakeland, because they love what you do, and they hear how is the Lakeland Police do it for the community. So it's always appreciated. So again, it's May 18th. And if they can go to LakelandPoliceFoundation.com, they can always invite a friend.
Yes,
bring your whole family. You can walk, run, jog. I mean, it's just
It's not just for people who run. We have a lot of people who just come and walk and push a baby stroller, and we ask that they just get at the end and let the runners go first because some of these runners are pretty intense about. Wanting to get their time right.
Well, my husband ran it last year, and he came second in his age group. But I'm telling you, I met a lady last year. She wasn't here. Remember what, 80 or 90 years old almost. Remember that lady? And she's like, I asked her, why do you do this? She's like, I love it. I just love it, just seeing this and and it's just an encouragement for people to like, oh, I feel old. I feel like tired. I didn't want to do this. It's just like, come out and see what the Lakeland community does and what people, how can they interact together. It's just an amazing day. I mean, it's usually I think the morning usually is filled with energy, love, support, whatever you name it. It's just like, it's a great, we usually there early in the morning, 5:36. Yes. Maybe 6 o'clock.
It's neat to see some of our elder people out there still running.
Yes.
I mean, our age category, I think, goes up to 80 for the prize medals. But, man, what an accomplishment to still be out there running a 5K at, I don't care, 60s, 70s, and up to your 80.
Yes, and even young kids, like young generation, young kids very excited about it. They're doing it. It's just like it's such an amazing experience. And
I think that, we pride ourselves on our medals. This year we did a little spin this year on our medal, and this is the year of the Olympics. So we actually did like an Olympic-style medal.
Nice.
We've posted it online so everybody can see it.
Yeah, if anybody can see it, want to see it, check it out.
Those that will win their age category will actually receive a gold medal that looks like an Olympic medal, and it's got 2024 is actually in the Roman numerals like the Olympic medal.
The Olympic medal,
And then unique this year is the first time we've done this on that medal is the 7 badges and actually the badge and the name of the 7 police officers that we have that have died in the line of duty. We think our medals are pretty much top
They're
notch.
always
Yeah,
amazing anyway.
yeah,
Every
so,
year they're like really top the year previous year, and people love it, and we're always very excited about it. I think I covered everything. Do you have any questions for me?
No, I don't think
No?
so. Well, I do.
Yeah.
I know, we have a lot of businesses in Lakeland, and if you were to say something to other businesses of why you chose, and I know that you're a health company and you have products that surround taking care of and supplementing people's health, but why, as a business owner, do you feel that you all wanted to support our race and the Lakeland Police Foundation?
I think it's to give back to the community, give back to people who help and support, and that makes us feel part of this community. We're a small business. We count on each other. The market has changed completely 100%, and people go out and shop online and this. And for us to be out there and really shake hands and feel like we support the community, people support us, and we need to give back. Just for people to come and walk to my stores every single day and shop from me directly, that's a huge appreciation. Some of them, by the click of the button, they can say that we can get the product by my door, but they choose to come to my locations. They choose to come and meet with us and have that conversation with us. And for me, I feel like we have to give back to that community. We have to still continue growing that aspect of coming out in the community and support your local business and support the other people around. So for us to be part of this, it's just like it's a giving back to you guys. And you come to my store and shop, and you make me survive all these years. So the least thing we can do is just to be out there and help and support the community. And we're not only doing the Lakeland Police Foundation, we're actually supporting the Judd run.
Right.
We do like a small high school teams. We do a baseball team, basketball team, whatever we can do. It's not all. Maybe sometimes it just could be like bag of samples for the customers. It could be like a very small amount of money, but people feel like, oh, we can support them. And we never say no to anyone. We try as much as we can. As again, if it's not financial, it's just like maybe by product, maybe by being out there and just having a booth and giving away free sample. It's just like we want to shake their hand. We want to tell them thank you for supporting us as well. And I think Lakeland is being great about that. As you said, Lakeland is a small community. They have that respect and love for each other and appreciation. And I think we're going to continue doing that for sure for the next few years. But that's why we do it, I think.
Good. Well, we appreciate that again, and we have great sponsors every year. It seems like most of our, if not all, of our sponsors return and come back and support our race. We actually picked up some new sponsors this year.
That's great.
So, which was awesome. But that's why the reason I asked you that question is that that's why we think that our race is more of a community event for us.
Yes.
Because we don't have that chance to do things sometimes with our business community so much. So what I would say is that, from the Lakeland Police Foundation, we appreciate you. We appreciate all of our sponsors.
Yes.
And we hope that everybody that attends our race, does go out and support the businesses that support us. Because we couldn't do it without the sponsors. Sure. So that's the nice thing about Lakeland also is that we do have a large business community on top of all the citizens that we have that support local businesses and that support us as a police department. Yes. So that's a beautiful partnership that we have, and I think we're different than a lot of other communities that don't have that.
That's great. We just forgot to say that the in order to sign it, $35 per member.
Yeah, I think it might have gone up to $40 now because sometimes the price changes.
Yeah, because of the timing.
But we still have that code that you can get $5 off.
Okay.
I think it's Honor 24. So you can go to LakelandPoliceFoundation.com or you can go to Run Sign Up and just put in there the Fallen Heroes race, and it'll bring up the registration page.
Is it too late for some people to come and sign up early in the morning that day or no?
No, actually, you can come up and sign up that morning also if you want to. We do have some walk-ups that do that, that come up. We'll be open for registration at 6 o'clock that morning from 6 to 7. So you can register last minute. Now you've got to get there a little bit early because
Yes.
by the time you try to get
Yes.
registered
Yeah, of
at the
course.
last minute and then,
Sure, sure.
get your bib on and do everything you need to do to get on the start line.
Yes.
I would urge people to get there early as they can, or just sign up early and then come pick your packet up. That's the easiest way.
Save the date.
Right.
Save the date. May 18th, save the date and be there. I know it's usually a very high traffic day, but you guys really do an amazing job. I think we go to Batterson Park and the park right there.
Yes.
So it's just like really everything is like very, very organized. No worried about anything. Just come out there, get your bottle of water and just come and run and enjoy with Lakeland Police Foundation. I'm really, really, really thankful for your time today.
Awesome.
We had a great conversation. We can go on and on and on, but maybe next year.
Yeah, we'll do it again.
We'll do it again for sure. And thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely.
And I
Thank
will
you
see you
very
on
much.
May 18th for
Yes,
sure.
ma'am.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.